Okay, this is one of our controllers. This one is a dual controller. We have 12 volt RGB pixie lights driven from this, and we also have 5 volt RGB strings driven from this. RGB strings are 15 spiral trees you've seen in some of the other videos, and the 12 volt RGB pixie lights, those are the arches across the top of the fence panels, and also one of the mini mega trees. And we had one spare port left on the RGB string side, which we used to circle the donation box. Last year was the first year we actually did collections. We've been doing light shows for 20 years, but never did collections. So last year was the first year we did collections, and we're going to continue that this year. Let's have a look into here then. So we have the cover. We have cooling ports, intake and outtake. So inside, here we go. So this one we've bought in from the end of last season to do some repairs and modifications. So we have the 5 volt power supply mounted over here. This is the Pixel controller with the 16 ports coming through. Then we have 2 RGB controllers. This is the 12 volt power supply for the Pixel controllers. Now, we had a little problem with our power supply. You can see it just underneath here. It would run for an hour and then shut down. So it was in mid-season, so we've just dropped in a backup power supply and just connected it in to get us through the season. And obviously now we'll remove this power supply and fit this one permanently. We have our connection blocks here with a relay for a fuse for each of the power supplies, and then the connection blocks for the 12 volts to power the cooling fans and the boards. All the boards are powered from the 12 volt feed. The Pixie board, because it is running at 12 volts, doesn't need an external feed. And we've got 2 network ports in. Well, I say network. High speed and a low speed. Low speed to run the RGB strings, and the high speed to run the Pixel boards. Right, I'm going to take this power supply out, strip down the other power supply, and then we do a little bit of a mod to mount this onto the DIN rail in the back. And we're also going to fit a couple of LEDs to the outer case to notify us that the 12 volt power supply and the 5 volt power supply are in fact powered. Just a visual representation from outside the box, so we don't have to go around and open each box up and physically check and test. Just give us a bit more insight as to what's up and what's down, just in case we have any future problems. Right. Okay, that's the old power supply out, and we have the replacement power supply here, but we need to do a few things to this. This clip that holds the power connector in, we just bent it out of the way just to get us going. That needs to be removed, and we mount these onto, screw them into jack posts on the DIN rail in the controller. So the screws that hold the board into the frame need to be drilled through, so we can put through bolts in there. So let's get this open. modifications. These make ideal power supplies for lighting controllers because they're obviously branded and you can get them in different manufacturers, but they're designed to run in computer file servers, which means that they have to be reliable and durable. Now, all the ones I've purchased I've got from system breakers who break down old kit and sell the spares off, so these are very cheap and very powerful. 750 watt these are, 12 volt, which is ideal for running pixel lights. This is the first one we've had go faulty, and we're running quite a lot of them, but I always try to keep some spare parts to hand just in case, because you never know. As we found out last year. Right, there's normally to this end as well, 2 screws. And one down here. This one's a little bit trickier, but you can get the power cable, the power connector out of the way to get onto it. Okay, that's the 4 mounting screws. Now the fan, you can normally just unplug this connector. There we go. There's also an LED in here for the power. Okay. Which plugs in at this end of the board here. There we go. That should free up the board. There we go. Comes out in one nice piece. So what we need to do is we need to drill out these 2 and this one. And we also need to drill out these 2 rivets to remove this clip. So I'm going to get the drill together. Okay, we have the drill. So let's drill these 2 rivets. There we go. That pops off. Just need to straighten this side up. You can use some grips or pliers, whichever's to hand, just to pull that back into place. There we go. Right. You can dispose of that in the metal recycling. And now we need to drill out these. So I'm going to change the drill bit. Okay. So the 3 bolts that go through here are M3s, so we're going to drill through these with a 3.5. So basically we're just taking the threads out of there, and you'll see that the bolts now go all the way through. So now what we need to do is get the controller back up and mark up where these are on the DIN rail, drill those and mount some jack posts. Let's get that together. Okay, right. So, just before we mount that back in, give it a clean off, and we'll clean up this bit of swarf. Right, we have the controller back. So, because I've got these existing jack posts in here, I'm going to see what lines up. So, line that one up there. It's not looking too good for lining them up. Okay, so if we line that one up, that's got to be re-drilled. So let's line them up on there. Looks like the offsets on these is a little bit different. These things are sent to challenge us. Okay, I don't think we're going to be able to make use of any of the original mounts. I think we're going to have to drill 3 new holes. That's not a problem. Tempted to go. That is so close. Quite tempted to go there. Yeah. Okay, so let's pop in a screw to just hold this one in place. With a short screw. And of course this one's too short. Not to worry. I've got another one here. That's better. Right, if we do that up, make sure that's square in the case. Okay, that one's fine. So I'm going to use one of these long nibbed pens just to put a dot on the DIN rail. And the same there. Remove this screw. There we are, little markers. So I'm going to remove these existing jack posts and drill some new ones, and I'll be right back. Okay, they're all in. Let's just see if they all line up. Yes. Yeah, that's fine. Right. What we need to do now is fit the board back into the power supply. Move these wires out of the way. Carefully insert this. There we go. Make sure that all tucks in, lines up, which it does. Connect the fan back up. There we go. Connect the LED back up. Tuck that LED cable in where it came from. Tuck the mains connector back in as well. There we go. Got an earth connection to go on there. Okay. Now, what we have to do is make a couple of cutouts in the lid to get the screws to mount it. So I'm going to mark those up and drill those out, and then I'll be right back. Right. Okay, so just drill through 3 holes in this case so we can put this together, because you can't get this case on and off when it's in situ. There we go. So I'm now going to put the case the screws back in the case. There's one. There's a lot more case screws on this power supply. Than the one we took out of it. It's the same rating. Put some in the end as well. Another one. And then let's have a look. And on the bottom, there's one there. There we go. Right. Now we'll try and get the case screws in. That's those two ready. So I'm going to tighten up these two back screws here, and then I'm going to fit this one into the front. So I just need to use both hands and move the camera slightly, so I'll be back when that's done. Right, let me tighten up this screw. There we go. Tighten up these two. One. There we go. That's it. Nice and secure that. Now, there are a couple of copper tabs on here. These are for when it's slotted into the server, so they connect. We don't need those, so we can take those off. Right, let's pop on the power connector and the mains connector. And there we go. Right, that's in. Right, what we can do now is connect up some power. Right, let's connect the power up. Okay, right. We have the flashing. You just about see those, and we should have a green. Yep, green LED on the power supply. These boards are powered from the 12 volt power supply, so I know the 12 volts is up. And we can confirm it. Get the trusty meter out. .53. There we go. Right. That controller has now had the power supply repaired. Well, replaced. We'll probably have a go at repairing it later in the year. Now, 5 volt power supply is powered up on the other end. Now what we need to do now is fit the 5 volt and the 12 volt LED. So let's get prepped for that. Right, okay. So what we've got is some little LEDs here, 12 volt and 5 volt. Some green LEDs, which are going to be the 5 volts, and we've got some yellow LEDs, IP rated as well, that are going to show the 12 volts. Now, on this case, I'm not going to put them into the front panel because the front panel has to be removable. Obviously the cooling fans are in the front on the front plate, but we have a connector here which we can disconnect those to release them. So I think I'm going to place these into the front panel here somewhere. So we'll drill through those of the appropriate size, get them mounted, and we have a reel of this 4-core LED ribbon cable, so I think this will be perfect to solder onto those LEDs and run them up to the power connectors up here. Right, let's get that prepped. Right, that's those soldered up to the corresponding points. We're going to now put some power on and make sure that they both light up. Oh yes. We now have a 5 volt and 12 volt LED indicator. Very good. We'll put this box back together and it can be stored away ready for the Christmas season.